Now that we've officially moved into the month of December, and it's socially acceptable to start putting up our Christmas decorations, I thought to myself, I'm going to use this opportunity to help jumpstart your guys' holiday spirit. I'm here to tell you why Christmas is the best holiday. For me, Christmas, growing up in my house, was always a good time. I believed in Santa Claus until I was about maybe 13 years old, and I see that as one of the greatest lies a parent can tell their child. Come Christmas time, everyone just seems a little more happier. Now, some people claim that Christmas brings stress due to the many tasks that need to get completed, such as decorating the house, decorating the tree, getting gifts for the family, or cooking a Christmas dinner. But if you ask me, I enjoy getting gifts for the family, decorating the house and the tree. Not cooking. I don't cook, no. And I'm not alone. It shows in a study done by Matt Killingsworth. He collected data from 20,000 people who reported how happy they felt at a randomly selected moment during daily life. And in fact, although Christmas is not celebrated by everyone, it is the happiest day of the year by a significant margin, with Thanksgiving and New Year's trailing. Now, one of the best parts about Christmas is the decorations. Now, some people say Christmas decorations are put out too early, but who are they to halt our holiday spirit? There are no restrictions to when a man should be able to stick out a fat Santa Claus in his yard. Decorating the house for the tree is the time of year when the family comes together to create something beautiful. I remember every year my mom would push to get a fake Christmas tree, and every year I would tell her no. You can't have Christmas without a real Christmas tree. It's just unheard of. Now, it's just something about the smell of the tree and the memories made while decorating that make it irreplaceable. I remember last year, my mom and I decorated our Christmas tree while we watched a little live version of The Sound of Musical that was on last year. Why are you laughing at that? Another Christmas tradition that is always fun is to going to look at Christmas decorations. People spend hours decorating their house. You see those houses that match up to the music, they flash, they're always the coolest. And I always make it a point every year to go look at Christmas decorations. And one of my favorite neighborhoods to go to is actually right behind the school. It's on Nutwood, and it's a long street straightaway with trees on either side of the street and branches that overhang the street. And they get these light bulbs that are about this big around, and there's just hundreds of them hung from the trees. It's the coolest street there is. And then they take lights and they wrap them around the trunks of the trees, and it just puts you in like a Dr. Seuss setting. That's what I feel like when I'm on that street. And I highly recommend you guys go check that street out. If you don't, you're definitely missing out. But if you're not going to look at Christmas lights, you're probably out going to see one of the new releases that come out, or one of the many classic movies. As Box Office Mojo Brandon Gray says, the end of the year is the biggest time for ticket sales, and that the week leading up to Christmas is the highest grossing week of the year. Now, you can go see one of the new releases such as The Hobbit, The Interview, or The New Night at the Museum, or you can stay in and see one of the many classic movies, the top three being Miracle on 34th Street, A Muppet Christmas Carol, and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. People love these Christmas movies. I read on Time Magazine an article written by Ilana Dockerman, who wrote and emphasized that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer last year had a higher rating than the season finale of Dancing with the Stars. Now, some people always have their favorite Christmas movie, and for me, my favorite Christmas movie, although it has no ties to Christmas at all, is Cool Runnings. I don't know if you guys seen that movie with the Jamaican bobsled team. Yeah, there we go. It always came on every December, and I just had to watch it. I don't know. I love that movie. And these movies are a great distraction when we're coping with our food babies after stuffing our faces after dinner. There's nothing like having turkey, ham, mashed potatoes, and yams stacked high on your plate. But if you ask me, it's all about the candy. And come Christmas time, my sweet tooth escalates to unheard of levels. And if you're like me, you have that one candy that trumps all candies. And mine is milk chocolate Bordeaux from See's Candy. And it is a creamy blend of brown sugar covered in milk chocolate. Now, every year my apartment managers, they would give us See's Candy for the residents. And I came home from school that day, and there it was sitting on our porch, wrapped in the red wrapping paper. Came home, brought it inside. My mom wasn't home yet. So I opened that wrapping paper up ever so carefully, slid out that box of See's Candy, opened it up, and I ate that one Bordeaux that was in the entire box. And if you know this, See's Candy comes in the little paper wrapping that carries each candy so you don't drop your crumbs everywhere. I went and I left that in the box, so my mom knew that I had beaten her to that Bordeaux, because it too is her favorite candy. So I went, closed that box up, and I slid it back in the wrapping paper and covered it up like I was never there, and I left it on the coffee table for her for when she came home. Thank God she thought it was funny, because I could have gotten in some serious trouble. But the one thing all these activities have in common is family and friends, and that's what makes the holiday so great. Everywhere you go, you're surrounded by people who care and love about you. And for me, I grew up in a divided house, so I didn't get to see all of my family all the time. So come Christmas Day, I get to wake up, I'd open Christmas with my mom at our house, and then my dad would come pick me up, and I'd get to go spend Christmas Day at my great-grandparents' house, where we would have about 20 to 30 family members gathered. We would open up our Christmas gifts, and then we would do our Christmas dinner there. And then after Christmas dinner, I get to go to my aunt's house after, where my mom would be celebrating our Christmas there with our cousins and my aunt. And we would just hang out, play with our new toys, and that's what the best part about Christmas Day was, is we were always surrounded by people who cared about you. But we all know the best part about Christmas: presents. What would Christmas be without presents? From AmericanResearchGroup.com, I read a study shown about a random sampling of 1,100 people nationwide had an average planned spending of about $861 on gifts this year. Now this is an 8% increase on the average planned spending of last year. So this just shows that people love giving gifts as much as they do receiving. We see that people are willing to spend large amounts of money, spend hours preparing their house with lights and decorations, and cook large amounts of food in preparation for just this one day. We see that this holiday is one of the best holidays because year in and year out, people continue to celebrate Christmas with such enthusiasm. Thank you.
My God.
Since Taryn's not here, we're going to go ahead and proceed with my comments. You've got a nice forceful opening statement. The goal is a value claim, so I can appreciate that. It seems a little broad and probably a little unnecessary, but you try and compensate that with a lot of enthusiasm. I think that helps a lot. I think you need a clear preview at the beginning of the speech, although as I'm listening to the speech, it does sound like there's a pretty straightforward organizational pattern that you're talking about, and that works well. You've got excellent use of your personal experience and references to bring in kind of emotional involvement and engagement with the audience, so I like that, and I think the audience probably responded to that as well. I did hear a few places where you're doing some source citation, so you're attempting to integrate research into the presentation. Even though it's a more lighthearted and personalized subject, you still found some information to include in the presentation, and I appreciated that. As usual, the delivery is very solid. I still think you need to control your feet because that's where all your energy comes out. And I like the energy in your voice, I like the energy in your face and your gestures when you're talking to us, but it just looks like you're wandering when you're, I know that sometimes it seems intentional. You just need to have half as much, and I think it would come across a little bit more effective. Wasn't a big deal. I didn't see it too distracting. It's just something to mention because I think we've talked about it before, and I'm going to remind you about it one more time. All right, and I thought you had a pretty solid summary at the end of the speech. All right, thank you.